Game day's here, I can hear the crowd. Turn on the lights, fans are cranked up and loud. Red or blue, we wear it proud. Yeah, we love our teams in this border town. Chiefs and Royals, Boo Mizzou, Rock Chalk, Jayhawk, KU. Hear that drum pounding in your feet. Yeah, you're marching to the beat of KC.
What is going on, YouTube? What is going on, Kansas City? And what is going on, everybody? And welcome to the beat of KC. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Lucas Murphy, and I have returned from a vacation to another loss, with the Kansas City Chiefs falling to the Denver Broncos, which would make them 5-5 on the season. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in desperation mode. We have officially hit that red button, as every game for the remainder of the year is extremely important. This one could be highlighted in yellow multiple times to where you're tearing the paper of how important this one is. This is one that you have to get a victory to be taken seriously, to be considered even for a playoff spot. There's so many implications that really fall in this game for the Kansas City Chiefs, and it outweighs anything that it could impact the Indianapolis Colts. Yeah, it would be a loss to the Colts and an AFC opponent, but this for the Kansas City Chiefs is just so much more valuable. They have to find a way to get this win. They have to literally dig as deep as they possibly can in their bag of tricks. They have to play to the best they possibly can, almost perfect. I mean, you're asking a lot for a team that just has so many inconsistencies. They really have just kind of been up and down, yin and yang, Jekyll and Hyde all year. We've seen flashes of a phenomenal offense. We've seen times where this team, a lot of people are saying they're back. And then you see times where you're like, man, this team is just not good. They are lacking in a lot of areas. People are sending shots to Andy Reid. People are questioning the offensive coordinator. They're questioning a lot of things. And I think this game is just so stout for the Kansas City Chiefs. And it's a tough opponent, ladies and gentlemen. The Colts are currently 8-2. They're coming off of a bye week. And we're really going to talk about some storylines, some things to watch, key matchups, players to watch, what this game means, even though we really kind of hit on a lot of that, the predictions and the outlook, and really kind of wrap this video up. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump on in. Now, the Colts, ladies and gentlemen, they're on the march. They lead the AFC South and have been dominant offensively. They rank first overall in all of the NFL. They're third in rushing, third in passing, and first in scoring. They put up a ton of points. They have a formidable offense. Jonathan Taylor is a beast, an absolute beast mode. He's flipped that switch. He has incredible numbers. We thought Saquon Barkley last year. Look at Jonathan Taylor. He's like, watch what I can do. Hold my beer. I mean, the guy is going off. And Daniel Jones, outside of really the last two games, Daniel Jones has fit really well in this offense, and he has phenomenal, targets. He has guys like Alec Pierce. He has guys like Michael Pittman. He has guys like Tyler Warren. The list can go on and on. And the offensive line is stout. They are a very good offense, and it's proven in the stats as we talked about. But I really think there's some things to look at. Daniel Jones, ladies and gentlemen, solid through 8 games, but in his last 2 games, he's thrown 4 interceptions and fumbled multiple times and has been sacked 12 times. Now, the bye week really came at a crucial time for them, and it's really a time for them to reset, although they're coming to Arrowhead. And I think that's really why the Chiefs are favored by 3.5 points. So we'll have to really see. Now, obviously, we hit on the Colts offense. Their defense is also performing well, especially against the run. The rush defense is ranked 5th. I don't really think that that's going to be a factor in this game. It's a good stat when you're going against teams who really know how to run the football. The Kansas City Chiefs struggle to run the football, ladies and gentlemen. If we're being honest, we're just going to go ahead and say it. Patrick Mahomes is going to have to be all-world. He's going to have to be that guy. He's going to have to literally take this team to another level in this game. He's going to be the one. He's going to have to hit his targets. Travis Kelce's going to have to step up. I mean, the list goes on. Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy's going to have to come out and have a game. You're going to have to guys like Tyquan Thornton who have a pretty solid game against the Broncos. You're really going to have an all-around, fully functioning offense. It's going to be interesting to see how the run game really evolves. Isaiah Pacheco, I do believe, is going to come back, but he's in a knee brace. How much they're really going to work him in. Kareem Hunt has been pretty solid, but nothing special. He does have a 3-game consecutive touchdown. He's been running the football in the end zone, so we'll have to see if that continues. But we're really kind of paying attention to how well Patrick Mahomes leads this offense, because he's going to have to. Now, the defending champions, which we're talking about, the Kansas City Chiefs, AFC champions, sit at only 5-5. Their offense is ranked 7th overall, but their run game is 16th, which we talked about. Again, I don't think that that's going to factor whatsoever in this game. Importantly, their pass defense, which I think is important, is 11th. And we've just kind of talked about Daniel Jones really turning the football over lately, so it'll be interesting to see if that can be a factor in this game. And I think I would say put pressure on Daniel Jones, but ladies and gentlemen, if we're just being honest, this defensive pass rush from the Kansas City Chiefs is just non-existent. We've seen a few flashes here and there. We've seen times where the pocket collapses and it really forces into, a sack, but it seems like most quarterbacks against this defensive front have all the time in the world. They could take a nap back there before they really feel any type of pressure. It's just unfortunate that that's how this defensive front has really evolved for the Kansas City Chiefs. That'll be something we talk about continuously through the rest of the year, probably into the offseason. So really that's kind of something to pay attention to. Now, head-to-head dynamics, the Colts do lead this series 18-10. Notably, the Colts have won the past 3 regular season games in Kansas City, and I think that that's not really a factor. This is a any given Sunday type of game. This is literally going to come down to how do these two teams match up, and we're talking about that. Now, watch the Colts QB, Daniel Jones, which we talked about. I think that's a big factor. To me, if you're forcing Daniel Jones to throw the football, you're kind of putting it into a Kansas City's favorable situation. The Kansas City Chiefs' pass defense has been pretty solid. Their run defense is okay, but ladies and gentlemen, we saw what James Cook did to this Kansas City Chiefs defense. James Cook had a solid game. He didn't have the greatest game. He didn't just go off like Jonathan Taylor did, which we're going to talk about against the Atlanta Falcons. But if you're forcing Daniel Jones to throw the football, I think you're going to see some mistakes happen, and that's what will keep this Kansas City Chiefs team in this game. Now, the running back situation, we talked about that. Kareem Hunt is one to keep an eye on. He has been pretty solid. He has a touchdown run in the last 3 games, and Isaiah Pacheco is recovering. So again, we'll have to see that usage. Kareem Hunt had 59+ yards, a TD last week, had 13 carries. But that's under the microscope because how much of that is going to impact in this game? I believe, again, it's going to be minuscule. Now, the ground game versus this defense, and we're talking about the Colts versus the Chiefs defense. Ladies and gentlemen, Jonathan Taylor. I mean, what else do you need to say? He's coming off of a game against the Atlanta Falcons where he rushed 244 yards on the ground and had 3 touchdowns. Again, 244 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns. I have him in fantasy, ladies and gentlemen. He carried me to a win by himself. He now has 3 games of 150+ rushing yards this season. He's going to test this Chiefs run defense. It doesn't matter if that's your sole focus. He's going to find ways with this offensive line to really challenge this Chiefs defense. And I think Jonathan Taylor is going to eat, ladies and gentlemen. I believe it. In a market that never sleeps, one name rises above the rest. Lisa Miller from Dan Lynch Real Estate. Trusted by hundreds and recognized across the Midwest. She delivers results when it matters the most. With over 13 years of experience and licenses in both Kansas and Missouri, Lisa isn't just selling houses. She's helping you find a place to call home. Whether you are a first-time home buyer, looking to upsize, or selling your current home, Lisa makes the process smooth and stress-free. As a local expert passionate about building lasting relationships, she ensures her clients feel confident and satisfied every step of the way. Don't wait, your perfect home is just a call away. Contact Lisa today at 913-579-3246 or 913-369-3000 or visit lisamillersaleskc.com. But Lisa Miller at Lynch Real Estate help you start your next exciting chapter. And let her know the beat of KC, Lucas Murphy, sent you her way. Now, some things to really pay attention to from an injury perspective. Forrest Buckner will be out again with a neck injury. Their defensive ends are kind of struggling. Tyquan Lewis, groin injury. That's something to pay attention to. And Samson Ebukam is questionable for this game. So their defensive ends are kind of lacking, or at least they will be with some injuries, to kind of see how they square up against this Chiefs offensive line, who will be, Kingsley Suamataia was in concussion protocol. Now, another thing to pay attention to is wide receiver Xavier Worthy. He did miss some practice with the ankle tweak, but I think he's going to be ready to go. He's going to be needed. You're going to need all weapons for this game. Pacheco did return to practice, but we talked about him. He did have a brace on that knee, and so it'll be interesting to see. Now, what this game means. For the Colts, a win would reinforce their status as serious contenders. I believe they're a serious contender. I believe that they're doing everything they need to do to really solidify themselves in the AFC to be taken seriously. They currently have a point differential of 118 plus 118. That is the best in the league. They are an absolute force on offense. For the Chiefs, a loss would really deepen their inconsistencies. And I think, again, ladies and gentlemen, you really have to start to question where this team is going to even go. Now, do they have the ability to really kind of string a series of runs together? Yeah, they can, because in 2015, they were 5-5, and they ended that season with an 11-game win streak. But did that team have the inconsistencies that this team has? It's just very interesting, and I think when you're constantly going to the AFC Championship, going to Super Bowls, you're putting a lot of pressure on guys because they're constantly playing a very physical sport. You're asking them to continuously do that. Is that an excuse? I don't think so, because you're really putting a lot on guys to continuously go out there and play physical, high motor. Yes, they get paid millions and millions of dollars, but at the end of the day, these guys are challenged every single day because of the continuous runs that they've had. You have to find that inner fortitude. You have to be able to find, that motor. You have to be able to fight through injuries. There's a lot that's going on with this team. Really how the dynamic of the team is shaping up when it comes to financials. There's a lot of things that are playing into that. I'm not making an excuse for this team. It's inexcusable to be 5-5. It's complete opposite of last year where we were winning those, last minute drives, or we were winning those close games. This year, it's just not happening for this team, and they're falling up short. Now, for the Chiefs, we talked about the loss. From a betting and fantasy angle, the Colts defense has been tough against the run. Again, I don't think that factors into this game whatsoever. The Chiefs have playmakers to exploit really the extra that is going to be needed. And I think we're talking about, again, guys like Rashee Rice, Juju Smith-Schuster, the list goes on. And again, when you really talk about these guys on paper, you think that this offense would be just number one. They would just be blowing every team out they play. It's strange to me that there's just so many inconsistencies with this team. And really, I think it falls back on the fact that they just cannot effectively run the football. They just can't. They have not even come close to having guys run for 100 yards. They haven't really had the opportunity to force the hand for their opponents to where they can just run the football. They're always throwing the football, and it's always clutch. They always have to come down to, it's just how this team is really structured this year. So, kind of wrapping this thing up, predictions and outlook. The strengths for the Colts is their high-powered offense, the confidence they have. I mean, they're coming into they're coming into Arrowhead. It'll be interesting to see how they really manage that crowd. But the favorable trend is the Kansas City Chiefs. They have the home field advantage. Their defense remains among the best in the league. They currently are favored by 3.5 points. Now, some weaknesses to look at the Colts. Recent turnovers, which is something to pay attention to. Some defensive susceptibility in the passing game, which it could lean in the favor of the Kansas City Chiefs, especially if they continue to force the hand and throw the football. But the thing is, the Chiefs are just inconsistent on offense. They are dealing with some injuries. If Kingsley can't go, then you're plugging in a backup offensive lineman. Depending on who that could be, they're going to plug somebody in. But at the same time, it's just the inconsistency of this offense. Now, key questions. Can the Chiefs offense get back on track and exploit the Colts pass defense? Or will the Colts ground game just dominate, keep Patrick Mahomes on the sidelines, let them just constantly chew the clock, take the lead, and just end this thing? I mean, that really could be a thing that we see. It could just force the Kansas City Chiefs defense to stay on the field, and it'd be tough for the Chiefs. They'd have to almost be perfect on offense, and that's really what I think is going to have to happen anyways. This Chiefs offense is going to have to be perfect. Now, given the Colts' momentum and success in Kansas City, they seem poised to sneak one out on the road, but I do believe the Kansas City Chiefs will find a way to win this game. I think the Chiefs' defense will step up. I do think we're going to see Spags really kind of have come in with a phenomenal game plan. They're going to plan for Jonathan Taylor, as you should. I hope that they force some turnovers. They really are going to have to force some pressure on Daniel Jones, and I do think the Kansas City Chiefs will come out on top on this one. I can't give you a score because, ladies and gentlemen, they could score 35 points and they could score 14. Just the inconsistencies, but I do think the Kansas City Chiefs will find a way to pull this one out. I appreciate you all checking out this video. I appreciate the support. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been one of the best experiences I've had covering sports in Kansas City. The channel is absolutely erupting. You guys have been phenomenal. Smash that subscribe button, smash that like button, comment down below. I enjoy getting some opponents, getting in the comments section. It's nice to talk to some opponents, fans. It's been really cool. And so I really appreciate all the support. I end every video the exact same way. Have a good day.